But think about this. They have announced that they're going to sue me for taking executive actions to help people. So, you know, they're mad because I'm doing my job. And by the way, I've told them, I said, I'd be happy to do it with you. So the only reason I'm doing it on my own is because you don't do anything. But if you want, let's work together.
Yeah, Chutzpah 101, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know what else to call it, although I do have a few words in the back of my mind. Joining us now is our friend David Horowitz, founder and president of the David Horowitz Freedom Center, editor of FrontPage Magazine, and his brand new one, Take No Prisoners, ladies and gentlemen. Let's put that book jacket up there for all to see. There it is. He's also written a great piece, The Hell That Is the Obama White House. But let's say hello to David. Hey, Dave.
Hi, Steve.
Great to talk to you. I don't know where to start, so let's start with Obama in your column. Then we'll get to the book.
Well,
go ahead.
He isn't doing his. I mean, you know, he's such a liar. He's not doing his job. His job is to execute the laws, not to make them. That's what the suit is about. And of course, it's another lie that the Republicans won't work with him. He won't work with the Republicans. This is the worst president, of course, that we've ever had. Worse than most people imagine. As I wrote in my article, The Hell That Is the Obama White House, Obama is behind every scandal, from Benghazi to the IRS. And how do you know that? You know it because nobody's been fired. I mean, if underlings were creating scandals for a president, the first thing he would do would be to fire them and distance himself from the scandals. Instead, he's promoted them. And that shows that he is the author of these scandals. And in particular, what the IRS scandal is an effort to suppress the political opposition. Obama's aim is a one-party state. He's a socialist, and he can't handle opposition. He has to suppress it.
David, he can't even handle his own party. I mean, there was a story in the New York Times the other day about a little encounter with that got Harry Reid, of all people, ticked off at him. There was a meeting with Democratic leaders, and Reid said, you got to do something because they're blocking all your nominations. And he said, you and McConnell work it out. And Harry Reid supposedly was furious. He doesn't play golf with any of them. He has no relationship with any of them. And I'm talking about Democrats.
Yeah, this is true. And this is, I think this is a personality thing. You know, Obama's a radical, but if he was a smart radical, he would do all those things. You know, the fact that he would give a 3-minute statement about the beheading of James Foley, and then while the parents are holding their press conference and grieving, go off to play golf. I mean, that just shows he had absolute contempt for Foley and his fate. In the same way, he has contempt for the fate of the Christians in Iraq. Obama is not a Christian. Nobody can believe that, given his behavior during the displacement and slaughter of 500,000 Iraqi Christians who have had to leave their homes or been beheaded and murdered because they're Christians. And this is the oldest Christian community in the world. It goes back to the time of Christ. The cathedral in Mosul failed to give its Sunday sermon 2 weeks ago for the first time in 1,600 years. And yet Obama has really said nothing about the slaughter of Christians. He mentions them in passing while he focuses on the Yazidi, the Yazvida. This guy is not a Christian. This is the first time I have actually accepted the notion that he probably is a Muslim.
All right, well, that is a pretty profound statement, David. But let me ask you,
It certainly identifies with our Muslim adversaries and the Muslim adversaries of Israel, even though they're genocidal bigots.
All right, let me ask you, David, because this goes from the piece you wrote into the book, and you talk now about how the dangers of this administration. At the end, you talk about, and I think the ultimate danger is terrorism and our porous borders and people like ISIS getting into this country. Although many have already said that some are in this country, and it's now incumbent upon the Republicans, and the title of the book I think is very, very telling because it's Take No Prisoners. And you think now is the time for the Republicans to go on the offensive, to educate the public, to make their points, to win the culture wars, to go all out, correct?
Well, yeah, the time was over 10 years ago. But Republicans just don't have any stomach for the fight. And this book is a guide to how to fight. Mike Tyson once said, everybody has a game plan until you punch them in the mouth. The Democrats have a massive punch in the mouth for Republicans. Every election, every sentence that they use is an accusation that Republicans are racist, sexist, homophobes, enemies of the poor, enemies of women and children, and so forth, uncaring, selfish. It's a moral indictment. Republicans they have no punch. They never morally indict the Democrats, although the Democrats richly deserve to be so. The Democrats control every major inner city in America. And they have for 50 to 100 years. They have monopoly control of them. Chicago, Detroit, Philadelphia, St. Louis. Everything that's wrong with inner city America, where a large number of African American and Hispanics live, Democrats are responsible for. They've destroyed the lives of millions of poor Black and Hispanic children by trapping them in public schools that don't teach them and haven't for 30 years. Every year, the statistics show that scores don't improve. Half the kids don't graduate. Half the ones that do graduate functionally illiterate. And the Democrats will go to the wall to prevent them from getting scholarships called vouchers to get them into schools
as Obama did when he canceled the voucher program in D.C. But David, I think
Obama's a racist. Why aren't the Republicans saying that?
Well, here's what I want to get to. And I think this is very important because in your book you say the Republicans have to turn the playbook, take from the Democratic playbook and use it against the Democrats. Forget appealing to reason. Go the way the Democrats do. How would that work?
Emotion. Well, it's racist to send your own kids to private school and deny Black kids in the D.C. area, as Obama has done, the same privilege of going to a private school or any school that will teach them. But Republicans are tongue-tied. They never mention these inner cities that the Democrats controlled. The war on women think of all the single mothers who are on welfare, with the Democrats' diabolical welfare program, where they get a free apartment and free food and $1,500 a month and $200 for every child they turn out. So what this program does is it keeps these women in permanent poverty and gives them incentives to create children who are going to be permanently poor and probably, many of them live lives of crime. Chicago is a war zone. Why aren't the Republicans making Democrats responsible for that?
Well, let me before we run out of time in a minute and a half here, can Republicans use your guidance, take their Democrat playbook and be successful with it?
Well, they could be successful. The question is, can they use it? We have sent a copy of the book to every Republican in Congress, both in the House and the Senate. I have had one senator call me and say he's going to put it into practice. Maybe if the people watching this show would call their congressman and tell them to read this book and act on it and start fighting. maybe we get some result. I think.
Well, David, I happen to know the phone number off the top of my head to the switchboard. Of course, they're out of session right now, but it's 202-225-3121, 202-225-3121. You get any senator, any congressman. David,
yeah, they're in their districts. Let them, call up the district office.
Yeah, that too. Hey, David, great. Congratulations. Great speaking with you. I'm glad you're feeling better. We'll speak to you again real soon.
Thank you, Steve.
Thank you. David Horowitz, ladies and gentlemen, founder and president of the David Horowitz Freedom Center, editor of FrontPage Magazine, where his piece on Obama, the hell that is the Obama White House, appeared at frontpagemag.com. And, of course, the book, Take No Prisoners, a blueprint for the Republicans to go by. All right, folks, you know what's next. Give me 5 coming up on the Steve Malzberg Show.